Rachel, the Whitworth women's tennis team is headed back to the Northwest Conference tournament this coming weekend down in Walla Walla. Before we talk about that, let's look back and talk a little bit about this past weekend. A hard-fought setback at Lewis and Clark, and then a fairly dominating win at Puget Sound. Tell us about that Lewis and Clark match and what went well and maybe what didn't go well but we can learn from.
Well, doubles was great, and that's kind of been the theme all season long, is that we've been a force in doubles, and the big trick has been just transitioning that into our singles play, that same confidence, that same ability to compete, and that is where we fell short on Saturday. The matches we won really, really well. I'd like to highlight number 2 singles, Faith Kurt, and number 3 singles, Paige Oliver, won really, really dominant matches against 2 players from Lewis and Clark who have actually had a lot of success in this latter half of the season. So it's easy to look at the 4 matches we lost in singles that were lost in 3 sets and get focused on that, but I don't want to overlook the successes we had at those 2 singles spots. Those were significant, and also obviously a big part of why we get to go to the conference tournament this upcoming weekend. But looking back at those 4 singles matches we dropped, they're as close as they could get. Anytime we are in a third set on court, that really comes down to ability to compete and mental strength, and Lewis and Clark showed up better in those areas than we did on Saturday. That being said, that definitely impacted how we came out on Sunday. The dissatisfaction was palpable, and the team just did a really good job of channeling that into really, really aggressive, focused, mentally tough play on Sunday, and that's a big part of why we had such a marked win over Puget Sound.
So there's going to be no surprises or secrets about the quality of teams they're going to face this weekend, beginning with Whitman on Friday. Just talk about the challenge ahead and what Whitworth will need to do to pull a surprising upset.
Well, we've done it before. Whitman is by far the strongest team in our conference. But that being said, at the very beginning of this season, we talked about how our conference is closer in skill than it's been in the past, even from top to bottom. And while Whitman has been a dominant force, there are matches that are on the table for us to win. This is definitely doable. It's a steep hill to climb. And honestly, if I'm looking back at this last weekend, I actually think that it's set us up. We have a little bit more resolve to not let something like that happen again, not let fear come out onto the court. And when we walk out to play Whitman, we really have nothing to lose, and they have everything to prove. So I think that's going to work in our favor, and we're going to go out swinging.